I thank the gentleman from Minnesota, the chairman of the Education Workforce Committee, for yielding me this time and for his leadership in combating this terrible bill in the aftermath of a very disappointing Supreme Court decision ruling that sometimes what we all thought and were told was a penalty is now a tax, but sometimes it's not a tax, it's a penalty. First time in the history of the United States Supreme Court in over 200 years of decisions that a device has been called both a penalty and a tax at the same time. Very disappointing, and here's what it leaves American citizens with. This is your new health care system, more than 150 new government agencies and programs. I was called by PolitiFact a couple of months ago, and they said, where do you get that 150 new government agencies and programs? We sent them a list of 158 new government agencies and programs with the page number of the bill and the section number of the statute, and we've never heard back from PolitiFact. I'm disappointed. I thought we were going to see one of those arrows pointing all the way over to the far right saying true, and it is true. Not only do we get 150 new agencies and programs, we get 400 new authorities for the Secretary of Health and Human Services and other bureaucrats here in Washington to dictate to families and businesses large and small, to local governments and state governments, to insurance companies, to healthcare providers, what your insurance policy is going to look like, which means you won't be able to keep the insurance that you like now and that you were promised you could keep by the president once upon a time. No, sirree. We already have 12,000 pages of new regulations that have been written, and they haven't even covered about half of those 400 new mandates, new regulatory authorities that they can write regulations on. It's going to cost $2 trillion over 10 years, $500 billion in cuts to Medicare, over $800 billion in new taxes, including $250 billion in taxes on middle-income Americans. And the fact of the matter is, this monstrosity needs to be repealed. Vote for this legislation and repeal it today.